Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to the War Room. We got Dev, Kill, Jimmy, PJ, B. Austin, the Hot Block Commander. How you want it in a 1 or 2 hour show to keep the brain running with the premise to talk sports on a national level. Roll with the topic, sorta like the rebels. When it's game time, they like the Fab Five during prime time. Sports conglomerates speak their minds a little bit. For sports medicine and sports veterans and greats. The 4 for 26, so the war in Kuwait. It's the War Room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys, diversified and educated.
What's good, War Room family? You are once again live in the War Room, brought to you by War Room Sports on the War Room Sports Podcast Network. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Dev McMillan. I'm at the round table with my brother, B. Austin, in the building. Jimmy's out saving sick kids in the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, so he won't be with us this evening. However, man, it was a year of unlikely sports moments, and we'll discuss some of our most surprising moments in our 2018 In Review episode. So keep it locked right here while we put a bow on 2018. And to get in on the conversation, make sure you sign in right now to the JW Philly Realty chat room at blogtalkradio.com/The War Room, or join us on Facebook or Twitter at War Room Sports. You can also call us directly in about 10 minutes after we gamble with Gus and open up the Digital Extreme Tech hotline. That number, as usual, is 323-410-0012. But before we get started, you know the drill. Make sure that during the week when we're not live on the air, you check out archive episodes of our show at warroomsports.com, the War Room Sports mobile app, iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spreaker, Google. Look, man, wherever you go to listen to podcasts, check for us because we're most likely in the building. So what up, B? Another year in the can. What say you about sports year 2018?
Yo, man, before we get into the sports, man, I would just like to salute Vladimir Putin for getting his mole into the White House, man. It's amazing, man. It's amazing what he.
Yeah, it's been a rough year. It's been an entertaining year, but it's been a rough year because, usually you can look at this whole political system from afar, and even though we're all considered quote-unquote Americans, you may not like a candidate, you may love a candidate, and either way, on either side of that coin, nothing they do affects your life personally. But in this little bit of time, I think Trump has effectively been able to actually affect the lives of the people that don't like him. Shit, he's negatively affecting the lives of the people who voted for him. But you'll never get them to say anything crazy. It's different. It's been entertaining, but at the same time, it's like, all right, slow down, cuz, because that touches my family. That touches my family. But yeah, man, forget about that dude, man. Huh?
Shit, never seen nothing like it. Maybe Uncle Var can run, man. Same difference.
Yeah. At this point, the country is like the laughing stock of the earth. So, can't go anywhere but up, right? Meanwhile, he got hundreds of thousands of people out of work with no checks and no prospects of checks, and because his tough talk towards Mexico didn't work, so now he's going to put it off on the American people, the people that he claims to love, talking out of both sides of his mouth, saying that the federal workers want the wall, and then on another note says most of the federal workers affected are Democrats. That was his way of trying to strong arm the Democrats and the working with him. So it's like, make up your mind, dude. First you say the federal workers want the wall, so they're willing to sacrifice their checks and their jobs for a little while until he gets funding for the wall. And then he comes out this dude is, not to make light of any mental illness, but for what most of us imagine bipolarism is, like, it has to be something along these lines. It really does.
Yo, you're right, man. And I saw a great interview done by the police officer Vlad from DJ Vlad of DL Hughley, and DL made some amazing points. One of them being that I believe I stand with him on this. I'm going to fight for the rights of any impacted human group, like human rights. But don't try and subjugate my ability to laugh, because I'm not going to feel sorry at the fact I still laugh at retarded people. And Trump is retarded, so I'm going to laugh. Hopefully we don't get banned from the airwaves, but I'm going to laugh at that dude, man.
All right, man. Look, man, 2018 was a crazy year in sports. I think 2018 was one of those years where a lot of the moments, a lot of the storylines, a lot of the results were surprising. You know, a lot of teams doing things after a long time. A lot of teams who've never done anything ever got some big things accomplished. So we're going to talk about that kind of stuff tonight in our year in review episode for 2018. But before we do that, we got to talk to Gus about some of these investments. Gus had a very good week last week. So before we do that, of course, we got to let you know that Hot Topics, which includes Gambling with Gus and our year in review, brought to you by MyBookie. Let's take a moment real quick to talk some betting. Since we are about to talk to Gus, the NBA, the NFL, the NHL seasons are chugging right along. And, you know, you can also, there's a whole lot of other host of sports out there that you can make bets on as well. Because of this is a great time to check out MyBookie. You can lay down some dough on the biggest games in sports. Join us and thousands of other online players placing bets at mybookie.ag. If you're tired of wondering what the services are going to do when you win, taking a little long to pay you, you don't have to worry about that anymore, because mybookie.com pays fast and with no hassles. You're wasting your time betting anywhere else. They even have in-game live betting so you can place wagers after the game starts. Think that's crazy? This is even crazier. Join now, and MyBookie will match your first deposit with a 100% bonus. You heard it right, 100%. Just use promo code WARROOM, WARROOM, to activate this offer. Visit mybookie.ag. Play today, play to win, get paid, period. All right. Like I said, Gus had a really good week last week, B. Austin. He was 6-0 last week, which brings his record for the season to 41-34-3. Now, week 17, vaunted week 17 is here, so he can really end this with a bang if he had 2 weeks in a row like that. So we're going to bring him onto the line right now, see if we can get, you know, this luck train rolling for another week. Gus, what's going on, good brother?
6-0.
Good, man.
Address that man as 6-0, Gus.
We're good, like everybody who made a bet last week.
I'm going to assume that you're all bowing right now to me.
All hail Gus. All hail Gus.
Hey, look. And 3-0 on the upset specials.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, last week was a week full of upset specials. So, yeah, that was a hell of a call on those games last week. So we're going to get right into this week's game, and we're going to start off with that Raiders-Chiefs game. We're going to do the over-under on that one. The over-under is 52. Where are you going on that?
I'm going over. And one thing about this should be said about this last week. To the NFL's credit, a couple of years ago, they set the schedule where the last week is always division games. And so there's always a little more intrigue as opposed to non-division games, even if it's not playoff implications. In this case, there is. The first game was 73 points. The Chiefs need the game to lock up the top seed. The Raiders have won 3 of the last 6, so they're playing a little better. Neither one of them play very good defense. I take the over in that game.
All right. Then we have the Texans versus the Jags. That line is 6.5. Where are you going with that one?
I'm taking the Texans, laying the 6.5. The Jags defense has been subpar on the road all year long. The offense has been non-existent anywhere, road or home. The Texans are trying to get into the playoffs with some momentum. I think this can get a little ugly. You never know how many of the Jags are already packed and ready to go. So take the Texans minus 6.5.
All right. Then we got the Browns versus the Ravens. This is a 6.5 point line. Is somebody injured?
I think that Raven game, the odds makers have a tendency to really sort of try to exploit the latest memory in the betting public's mind, and the Ravens upsetting the Chargers is the latest memory. The Browns plus 6.5. I'm taking the Browns. I think they're the most motivated non-playoff team that we've seen in a long time. They want that winning record. They're 7-7-1, and they definitely want that winning record. I think they're going to show up. The Ravens choked in the same position last year when a playoff position was on the line against Cincinnati. Cincinnati team that wasn't anywhere near as motivated as the Browns are this week. I'm taking the Browns plus 6.5.
All right. Then we have the Bucks and Falcons. The over-under on that game is 51.
Real simple. Neither one of them play defense all year long. What makes you think they're going to do it now? Take the over. Bucks Falcons.
All right, over 51 for the Bucks Falcons. So that's everything right there. And also, we want you guys to go to warroomsports.com and check out Gus's latest piece on Josh Gordon and, addiction in America. It's a very good piece. You guys need to read up on that. If you haven't heard the story, of course, Josh Gordon last week was again suspended for violating the terms of his probation and the NFL drug policy. It was funny though because Josh Gordon, he tried to get out in front of the story because the first that I heard of it, he had come out saying that he was going to step away from the game because his mental health was important to him. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe he had some type of relapse, but he was mature enough to understand, okay, stepping away is the best thing. And then about an hour later, he got popped again and he got suspended. I'm like, oh, come on, Josh. Like, what are we doing here? Good try.
Part of that issue is, by the time we hear about a positive test, there have been multiple positive tests already that we just didn't hear about. And whether that's Martavius Bryant or Josh Gordon, obviously the implications are bigger than sports. He's addiction, and you can't apply logical thinking to addictive behavior. You just can't.
True, very true. Sad story, man. Hope he gets it all together. He was, even as an addicted player, balling a little bit.
Yeah. Before we get you out of here for the last time in 2018, is there a story, a moment, or anything from this year in sport that stands out to you the most? You got a favorite?
I
mean, it's okay. You could say Nick Foles holding up that Super Bowl trophy. That's all.
Yeah, these are Eagle fans, man. Yeah. I think the long-awaited champion story, and not just the Eagles, but the Capitals, Simona Halep winning her first major, Caroline Wozniacki winning her first major. There's something that is just very satisfying to see someone who's been long suffering, for lack of a better term, to finally get over the hump.
Right. No, I understand that too, and I think this year is full of that. But everybody out there, like I said, go to warroomsports.com and make sure you read Gus's article about Josh Norman and addiction in America. Again, it's a very good one. Gus, for the last time in 2018, thanks again for your time, and we will talk to you next year.
All right, Gus. And we'll make sure that Dev realizes that is not Josh Norman that's snorting that white girl, but Josh.
Name 4 times. Yeah, that's just a Freudian slip, though. That's not like on some Stephen A. Smith type stuff. I know exactly who we're talking about. All right, guys. We'll talk to you next week, man.
All right. Happy New Year.
All right. You too.
Merry every
Gus Griffin, everybody. He had a 6-0 week last week. He usually does heat up at the end of the season. So this is the time you might want to take this betting advice and go out there and win you some money. Especially if you're a federal government employee and you're a victim of this shutdown, you might want to put whatever loose change you got, make you some more. But if you do that and you lose, I didn't tell you to do that. So B, let's get into some of the things that happened in 2018, man. Some of the biggest stories of the year. And come on, man, as Philadelphia natives,
come on, you already know.
He said, long-suffering football fans, and the suffrage wasn't that, you know, we were the guys walking around with paper bags on our head, because, you know, the teams, the other team, the fans of the teams in the division don't really want to admit things like this, but kind of for the whole, you know, century thus far, the Eagles have been pretty much the dominant team in this division. The funny part about it is when we're winning and we're winning divisions, it doesn't mean anything to those guys because we don't have, you know, we don't have a Super Bowl ring. We don't have this. We don't have that. However, when they win the division with like a 9-7 record, which is happening like right now, it means everything in the world, even though they haven't won a Super Bowl in like 30 years. Like, it means everything in the world when somebody else wins the division, but we're not allowed to celebrate division victories because we didn't have a Super Bowl ring. But we're the defending Super Bowl champions right now because early in 2018, February 4th to be exact, the Philadelphia Eagles went into the Super Bowl against the favorite New England Patriots, led by a backup quarterback that B. Austin and myself have been touting for the past 5 or 6 years, but, you know, I don't want to toot our own horns. And the Eagles pulled out the first ever Super Bowl win for the city of Philadelphia, man. We'd be remiss if we didn't start with this story, B. Like, go back, take yourself back to that moment. Take yourself back to that, just that moment in time, the game, when the game ended, when it happened, the weeks, you know, after. Like, how was that feeling as a Philadelphia long-suffering football fan?
I really don't have to take myself back, as I watch it just about once a week. So I relive that moment repeatedly. And, you know, from the Philly special to the Brandon Graham sack at the end of the game to Nick Foles' unlikely story where NFL football had beaten him up to the point psychologically where he was ready to hang his cleats up and put his arm, his elbow, and his shoulder away and just, you know, go be Napoleon Dynamite. Yo! So we have to put an asterisk by Vince Young's career because it might not have. No, yeah, it would have. Never mind. I don't even know. Such a euphoria that even this season I'm not really as angry as I usually would be at our mediocrity and our blowing chances and having, you know, the green-headed bull with the tail in the back of his head playing corner. Like, I'm not even upset at that stuff. Like, it's like we are the world champion Philadelphia Eagles, even if it only lasts through February 4th of next year, which it looks like it will only last through February 4th of next year. To have experienced that and seen that, oh, man, I just, whoo.
Yeah, I mean, when it's something that you pretty much think that you'll never experience, you know, it's a good feeling. And like I said, you know, if these dudes can celebrate Super Bowl 30 years later, why can't we for, you know, 9 months? Like, come on now.
Yeah. Like the Cowboys they've only been to the playoffs about 3 or 4 times since their Super Bowl win.
Yeah.
Same with the Washington professional football team. They've only been to the playoffs 3 or 4 times in 30 years. So, the only people that can talk to us are Giants fans for real.
Yeah. And even if, like I said, like if you just talk about that division, like the Eagles have easily been the best team in that division. The Giants just happen to, you know, break through on 2 different years and get some Super Bowl wins. So, you know, definitely kudos to them. Like you said, they're the only ones who have room to open their mouth right now as a fan base. But, you know, we know how that goes anyway. All right. Well, before we move on, because we got, you know, a lot of other stuff from the year to hit on. And shout out to Nick Foles, man. I always, that just thinking back to that picture of him holding that trophy up and kind of like disbelief, man. That's one of the greatest images that I've seen this year. But I think we got another Eagles fan on the phone, so we let him get on and celebrate one last time before we move on. Because I don't know how it's going to end this year. Like, they actually have a chance to back into the playoffs, and it all depends on whether or not the Chicago Bears are going to go out and do what they've been doing all year. Like, when a team comes from kind of like nowhere, it's hard to have confidence in them in big moments. So I'm sitting here the whole time thinking the Bears are going to lose this game. Even if the Eagles do their part and beat the Washington professional football team, I have a feeling the Bears are going to lose. The crazy part about it is every game that you need to watch is happening at the same time. The Eagles and Washington are playing at 4:25 on Sunday. The Bears and the Vikings are playing at 4:25 on Sunday. The Rams are playing at 4:25 on Sunday, which is a game that the Bears need to be watching, because the only reason that the Bears would have to go all out and try to win the game is if the Rams lose, because they own the tiebreaker with the Rams. So if they move into a tie with them, they get a higher seed. So I'm sitting here thinking, hopefully, all of these games could stay within reach, because if the Rams game stays within reach, and they're playing the 49ers, so it could be likely that it doesn't. But if the 49ers can keep it close, at least, it'll keep the Bears, whoever's watching the scores for the Bears, it'll keep them with their foot on the gas. You know what I'm saying? So, and then there's another scenario to this. The Bears are a higher favorite against us than they would be against the Vikings in the playoffs. So do they want to step on the gas and try to beat them so they can get the weaker matchup with the Eagles? Or are they thinking, well, the Eagles are kind of peaking at the right time. I don't really want to see them. They are the defending champs. So it's a lot to go into this to see if there's even a possibility to get into the dance to see if Nick Foles could catch lightning in the bottle and do it again.
I'm from Philly. I got one in my lifetime. I'm cool, man. We're not going to the play.
I'm not greedy. Like, I'm upset with fans who are running around mad at everything that happens this season. Like, really? You the same dude who said you would have sold your soul for a Super Bowl, then you get one and everybody get greedy. Well, let's go to the phone line real quick, man. We got the homie Rob phone. Rob, what's going on, good brother?
I accept your apology. Nick Foles will accept your apology.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, yo, it's your boy Big Rob, a.k.a. the Bedroom Bully. Yo, it's your boy Big Rob, a.k.a. her fight lands at night. My fight lands at 8, her fight lands at 9. My game just rewind. Yo, it's your boy Big Rob, a.k.a. Warriors come out to play. The Lakers show is back, baby. Before I get started, man, yo, play on that track, boy.
Robbie, maybe catch me off guard. I'll be forgetting about the track that I got. Right, you gotta stop breathing so hard, man. What's going on? You got this Rob in the bedroom bullying. All right, we ain't got that much longer to hear that. What's going on, man? This is a 2018 in review show, man. What was your favorite moment of 2018?
You already know.
Other than being the Warriors, like this Christmas, man, I was waiting my whole entire. I was nervous as a hooker in church, man. I was nervous at like OJ and the Starbucks on a Women's Day parade, man. I was nervous, I was nervous, bro. I was very nervous. But at the same time, the winning that championship.
What were you nervous about?
I was nervous with the game, the Philadelphia Eagles in the game against the Patriots. That game was very nervous. It was everything exciting. It was everything that the game should be. I think I like close games winning than a blowout win, because close games you just remember those magical moments. Mm-hmm. And we actually made the right call other than Pete Carroll, cough on the ball. And it just showed. And to be honest, man, because I want to go to basketball. To be honest, man, I was waiting my whole life for that moment. Every 4th and 26, every
I'd rather blown their ass out. I could have relaxed for the whole game.
I mean, I went to a Philadelphia bar, and to be a bunch of drunken Philly fans there, and to be and you know, to see your team, and shout out to the snow buddy officer that was, you know, let me carry her the whole game. You know what I'm saying, yo. Yeah. But yo, man, but yo, X videos. Anyways, yo, I felt so just great that the Eagles finally got over that hump. And Dev, stop speaking out blasphemy. You have to have faith, like Doug Pearson said. You know, this parade should be parades we should get used to in Philly. And you know, just
that don't mean it's going to be back to back. Patriots didn't do that the first one. We getting greedy.
Yeah, but still, Dev, we're a winner. We're a winner, Dev. Okay, we're winners, man. We're winners. Okay, no more memes. No more memes, Dev. We're winners. We are championship.
If that's what a winner is, yeah, no doubt. All right,
when you hold up that trophy? When you hold up that trophy in Tom Brady's face while ejaculating in Giselle's eyes? That's what a winner is in front of his 5 kids. That's what a winner is. That's what a winner is. I mean,
what's up with basketball?
Yeah, what's up with basketball? Celebrating you being able to go to Target and get LeBron underoos now, or what we talking?
Well, when are you going to celebrate? Hey, I can celebrate. I would rather get LeBron underoos than watching Ben Simmons actually formulate a good jump shot. How about that? So, you know, that's all I got to say, boy.
Wow, that doesn't really insult.
How about this? How about
LeBron and you take a shot at somebody in our team? Okay, that's what's up. Good
yeah,
job.
yeah. He talk about I would never like LeBron. Look, LeBron has listen. I will say this. Thank God for Jeannie Buss. You know, Beyonce said, no homo. Beyonce said that's a Wonder World girl. She came on as a lady in charge. She came on, took the team back for her brothers, made Magic Johnson the HNIC, and he breathed life back in the stadium. Thank you, Jeannie Buss.
LeBron was coming to LA anyway. I would give Magic all the credit. LeBron was on the way.
Why not? Why not? Why not? Why not? Why not?
Because
why not? Huh?
Magic brought in Born Ready.
Kyle Kuzma. He brought Alonzo, who's a great defender. Wait. I want to ask you that
right now.
He's not even been in the league long enough to be a great defender. He's showing promise.
He's developing.
Yeah, say that then.
Wait.
That's disrespectful to great.
Wait. I want to ask you, Dev. Do you see comparisons between him and Jason Kidd?
No, Jason Kidd was a way better athlete. They both light skinned though.
I mean, I can see the comparisons. I think Jason Kidd was just a much better floor general coming into the league, but I can see the comparisons. You know,
they both play point guard.
He, like I said, he's developing on the defensive end. We know Jason Kidd was a great defender during his time. They both came into the league struggling with their jump shot. So yeah, there's a lot to compare there. Definitely doesn't mean that his trajectory is going to stay Jason Kidd, on the Jason Kidd path. But I can see the comparison.
Lonzo is a bum.
He's developing. Give light boys a chance, man. Give him a chance to grow.
He's developing into a better father of his kid than Magic is of EJ.
I don't know what EJ got to do with it. I don't know, because of having kids out of wedlock is a good sign. Having kids out of wedlock, but hey, if you want to, and wait, you married to a sister, man? Why? Come on, man, really? But,
wait, I don't get that. You said he's married to a sister, so he shouldn't be able to talk about a sister and EJ? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Oh, I'm trying to understand. Like, I didn't get that. I thought you were calling EJ a sister. I'm like, look who's talking. You calling him a sister?
No, I ain't call him a sister. I'll say he's talking about a better family, whatever, man. That's a whole nother conversation. But the Lakers are looking good. I would rather have a closer win versus the Warriors. They didn't. Draymond Green is a fraud. I never liked Draymond. I think he's overrated. I mean, I really don't.
All right, man.
I think. I mean, he's a biscuit. And by the way, I want to go back to football real quick. By the way, I always want to say this. KG is a fraud too. He's a fake tough guy. How come he didn't do nothing against Anthony Peeler when he got elbowed? He just stood there like a punk. But anyway,
there aren't a lot of tough guys in the NBA. They act tough. Like, none of them want Herman Washington. They just act tough. They don't throw hands. They do the hold me back move. They get all gully because they know somebody's right next to them to hold them back. And then after they get held back, they act like they wanted to rush them even harder. You know how that goes, man. The NBA players. So, God, man, thank you for all your support, man. In 2018 and beyond, you're one of the originals, man. So, with what you're saying, make one last point, man. We got to go.
I just want to say, it doesn't matter what happens this on Sunday, as a sports fan, seeing the Eagles win the Super Bowl was in my sports life was a highlight moment. It didn't matter. It doesn't matter how bad the season is. The Eagle fans who are taking this season being mad all the time, or either immature people with no lives, or they're fake fans, because which is worse. I'd rather you be a fake fan than have no life. But yeah, people got to relax. Enjoy the fact that you beat Tom. What teams can say they beat Tom Brady in his prime?
A fake fan like your man out there who makes money when the team loses, because he can get on YouTube, talk crazy and curse and his numbers. He's
an image. He wants world star hits. Now I can't stand. He's from boring Bakersfield.
Was he really happy last season when they won the Super Bowl? That's bad for his business. It's for him
dude.
Hey, but Rob, we gotta go, man. We can't talk about that too. We'll rap about it next week, man. Holla, thanks for your support, man. Always easy.
Peace, man.
Peace. All right. So.
Peace.
What else happened in 2018? Year in review, of course. We still in Philly. Villanova takes down Michigan for their second national title in 3 years, third overall. That was another big moment for Philly sports. It feels good. Like, we're always Philly teams are always competitive, no matter what it is. College basketball. You always have
the rich coach.
Yeah, but you always every few seasons somebody breaks through and they give you a good almost. The Phillies got it done in 2008, but they had a good enough team to maybe get 2 or 3 in that time period. So, but the way things go in that city, you just gotta be grateful for the one that you did get. So for some teams to bust through and actually do it, I mean, the Flyers have been a Stanley Cup runner-up within the last decade. The Sixers have been an NBA runner-up within the last 2 decades. The Eagles were a runner-up in the Super Bowl in 2005, before this happened. So it's like, what's that saying? Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. So, yeah, it definitely feels good for a few teams to bust through and for Villanova to do it 2 times in 3 years.
I really don't hear enough. I don't hear enough chatter about Villanova for them to have had the run of success that they've had.
It's a crazy run, especially in a one and done era because those aren't the type of players that they get. You know what I'm saying? They were good because they had older players for the first win, and then the young players on that team grew up for the second win. Like this isn't a one and done type program. Like even now, like they don't look that good because they can't just go reload like a Kentucky or a Duke or somebody like that. So it's very impressive to get 2 and 3 years, with that kind of recruiting history and recruiting success. All right, B, where you at?
Right.
Okay.
I was agreeing with you. Sorry, I was. Yeah, I definitely feel that, and hopefully they can figure out a way to blend a better level of recruiting based on the success with maturing talent. I don't know whether that can even be done in this environment.
I mean,
they certainly
you could bring them in, B, and boast 2 trophies, in the last few years. But point blank, period, like when you bring them in, you're not showing them Duke facilities, Kentucky facilities. You're not promising them lottery pick status. They've had a couple, but you're not promising them that kind of stuff like these other programs can. So it's still hard to compete, even though you had that kind of success. But
right.
The Golden State Warriors win their second straight NBA title, 3 in the last 4 years, when they swept the Cavaliers in June. I don't think, there was no surprises here. I don't think anybody gave Cleveland much of a shot outside of true LeBron stans. And I don't even know if they believe the stuff that they say and think half the time. You just have to say it. We know people who's been picking LeBron-led teams to win the championship for the past 15 years straight. Real talk, for the past 15 years straight. At some point, you have to be right. You know what I'm saying? So, you got a few out of it, but, when you bet like 3 for 15, it's not really impressive. But it shows when people are big fans of something, they don't think with their heads. Well, yeah, they basically think with their hearts and their private parts, because some of them get a little too suspect.
That could be called a head. But when you really look at LeBron, and kudos for him on the successes he's had when he was able to bring in other Hall of Famers and other superior talent to kind of run with to get him those chips. But could we consider LeBron the greatest runner-up of all time? Or would that have to go to Jerry West?
I think it's still Jerry West's title. It has to be. Jerry was always right there. He was definitely the biggest bridesmaid. He was the maid of honor during his time in the league. So it's between the two. But LeBron, no matter what he did to get it, he's pulled out 3. So he has
right
one up on Jerry West.
What, he'd have to 3 more, which he's fully capable of.
Yeah, the Warriors, but this is we can't really judge from what's going on right now, because I think the Warriors have come to the point where they understand the marathon of the regular season, and it's no longer about winning every night and setting records and stuff like that. You see little games like the game, on Christmas between the Lakers and the Warriors. It gives people hope that the giant can be slayed. But I think if they're going to the playoffs healthy, I think the Warriors have at least one more in them, because there's a possibility that KD is going to leave. There's the likelihood that Boogie, once he does step on the court, after this season, he's going to end up leaving. So it's not going to be as easy for the Warriors after this season. So this could pretty much be their last hurrah as champions. But it's funny how every little loss in the regular season, people are looking way too much into it, thinking that these teams have
season. In
right.
a season. The Warriors on the brink. Oh my God!
Right.
They've lost one.
Because look what happened when they went for it. They went for the record, got it, and then didn't finish the deal. So they're like, it's not important. That's not important to us, That's why, staying rested up and all that stuff they do in New Earth basketball. That's what they want to do, so they can go out and win titles. Because that's, these days it seems like that's all it's about.
Listen, I've seen Michael Jeffrey play. I've seen Kobe Bean. I've seen AI Hakeem. I've seen a lot of players. I've never seen someone score 50 as easily as Wardell. Wardell can get 50. He can get hot, and it's like he's shooting in the gym by himself. That's not fair, man. That's not fair.
You wasn't with me shooting in the gym. All right. Other big news. This is another story along those lines of a team finally breaking through, and that is the Washington Capitals, who won their first Stanley Cup in their 43-year history. They're a team that's always going into the playoffs with high hopes, and they've kind of developed a reputation for being a choker, a choking franchise. They finally, in a year where I don't think the hopes were as high, they finally broke through. The craziest part about it is, in the Stanley Cup Finals, they were playing the Las Vegas Golden Knights, who were an expansion team. So in the first year of expansion, they make it to the Stanley Cup Finals. They lose in 5. And that's the thing. Like, living in the Washington, D.C. area, I really don't ever want to see. Like, it's hard to see any of their teams win. And it has nothing to do with the teams. It has everything to do with the fans. Because, all of a sudden, every black person in D.C. was a hockey fan. Like, FOH. You don't even know the rules of hockey. But everybody was a hockey fan all of a sudden. But when they drew that matchup in the Stanley Cup Finals, I kind of knew. I'm like, because you're thinking about it, like, this is an expansion team. So not from any shade thrown towards Washington. I was rooting for Vegas anyway, just for that story. But you kind of know at some point this is going to, Cinderella's going to lose her slipper. At some point, it's just not going to happen. Like, this expansion team is not going to take it all the way to the Stanley Cup title. So I kind of knew that it was a done deal once they drew that matchup and ended up, breaking through for the first time in their 43-year history. I think they can shed the choker label now. Alex Ovechkin can shed the choker label now. So shout out to the Capitals for their first win ever. What else?
How weak is the league if an expansion team makes it to the finals? Like, I mean, we got to talk about that. And I bring that up in terms of MLS soccer as well, because they had an expansion team win the chip. The Atlanta United won the chip this year, second year in existence. And I'm like, bully for them, great. But is the league you're playing in kind of weak or watered down?
Right, you like, is it that easy now for expansion teams? We coming in, we going to the chip. Like, y'all done gave us a bunch of players that we probably wouldn't have picked on our own, and we still going to the chip. Oh, shout out to Skyview in the chat room. He said something about them. He said Vegas Golden Knights going for the Stanley Cup in their inaugural season, even if you're not a hockey buff. Respect. Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And then he and Neil are in the joint talking about Bird Box. If you've been on social media for the last 2 days, all you've heard about was Bird Box on Netflix. Bird Box this, Bird Box that. I've seen so many people feel forced to watch it because there's so much word of mouth going on, and then those people come back and say, "Yo, I shouldn't have listened to y'all because Bird Box was trash."
Bird,
I don't know what
Bird was.
yeah,
Bird
I'm
was
here like, oh, I gotta watch Bird Box. I don't really care about birds in the box, or whatever that is. But yeah, you've heard about that countless amount of times in the last few days. MLB. Let's talk a little MLB, man. Titletown strikes again. The Red Sox wins its 4th title since 2004, their 9th all time. They beat the Dodgers in 5 games. Dodgers is one of those teams, they can't seem to break through and get that coveted win. Like the Dodgers have been in and out of the mix for a while now. I mean, when the Phillies were winning the World Series, you know, they played the Dodgers in the playoffs like every single season. So, yeah, the Dodgers can't seem to get over that hump right now. But another Boston team, you know, like we said, if you're like a 16-year-old growing up in Boston, you've seen like 11 championships in your life from the 4 major sports in America. And
if you growing up in New England, you don't even know that your sports history ain't ish. Like you don't even know that Irving Fryer played for y'all and he was the only good player.
Before 2004, your whole region was trash. But now, like there's nothing you can say, man. They've won in all 4 major sports since the turn of the century. Multiple times. Like, it's crazy, man. It's one of those things, like, if you can't admit to yourself that Boston, or at least that region, because New England Patriots don't just rep Boston.
You remember getting Fleer and Top Hat football cards? And when you would get a Patriots player, you would just throw them out? Like,
it was like Tony Eason. That's what
the only Patriots player I wanted was Irvin Fryer, and I was like, I used to feel so sorry for and sad that Irvin Fryer was on their team. I was like, yo, this brother's too good to be up there. Now,
crazy back then, when they finally did break through in '85, they had to go against the '85 Bears. That was no days. Got destroyed then. That's the only thing, though. You look at every decade since the 80s, though, the Patriots at least once have broken through and made it to a Super Bowl game. Just couldn't seal the deal until, you know, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady were on the scene. So, yeah, it's
so they made that Robert Kraft made that deal with the Skull and Bones, worked it out with the devil.
He sure did. All right, so LeBron, after his latest finals loss, because, you know, we celebrate that LeBron made the finals 8 straight times, but after his latest finals loss, sweep at the hands of Golden State Warriors that we talked about a few minutes ago, he was a free agent again on that market, and this time he ended up leaving Cleveland again. I guess Cleveland fans don't feel the same as they did last time. He did help bring them a championship, and in Cleveland, that's probably worth, like, you know, 3 or 4 championships. So he didn't get the same vitriol this time. But what were your thoughts about LeBron leaving Cleveland again? Like, when he went back, like, I didn't think he would go back, especially with the relationship he had going out of the door with the owner. I never thought he would go back or should go back. Then he goes back, and people were like, man, in a few years, LeBron will probably leave again. And I'm like, there's no way that LeBron's going to leave again. By the time his time was running to a close, I knew that there was no way that he was going to stay. But when he went back, I'm like, yo, there's no way he's not going to retire as a cat. Yo, LeBron just runs to the next situation every time, man. Were you surprised that he left?
ex-girl to the next girl. No, because at that point I knew what type of injury he was. I was more shocked and surprised that he returned, understanding what Dan Gilbert really thought of him and how white supremacy had reared its ugly head in that letter and tirade, that I thought that he is a self-respecting man, wouldn't go work for another man that felt that way about him. But I guess the bread was too long, and he was an independent contractor, so he could justify it. He went and brought an undeserving city a ring. God bless. And so when he left, no, I wasn't surprised that he left. I was like you. I was totally in shock that he went back. That was what got me. Like, yo, why would you? How could you? What would you do that for? Like, I had no idea that he would do that.
Yeah. Well, undeserving is a strong word. Maybe in basketball terms. I think actually in football, Cleveland might be the most deserving city.
Oh, yeah. No, it's football.
Yeah.
Ernest Bynum Afro deserves the ring.
Yeah. Yeah, like those people show up and show out knowing that they have nothing to look forward to year in and year out. So Cleveland Browns have the most loyal fan base that I've ever seen in my entire life. But it's loyalty without delusion, though. See, that's the difference. Like in the place that I live, like I've seen for the last 20 years that it's been delusional. Like, it's not just that, oh, I'm a big fan, I'm a diehard, and I'm not ever going anywhere. We're gonna win the Super Bowl this year. When you went like 3-13 the year before, like what tells you you're gonna win the Super Bowl?
When they drafted Jason Campbell, they was like, yo, we going to the bowl, Mo. Huh?
Jason Campbell, the next Doug Williams, Joe. All right,
Campbell couldn't close his mouth. How you gonna win a Super Bowl?
To the phone line here, we got Tobias in the building. Tobias calling from Arizona. What's going on, Tobias?
Hey, first things first. I lost my cell phone, so I had to get another one. So I got a burner phone like KD right now. I have to do this real quick, guys. I gotta let y'all know. Save the date, gentlemen. December 29th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You guys are cordially invited to the 5th annual Roll Tide Invitational.
Tobias can be salty as hell if they lose.
Yo.
He be talking to the point of no return, man.
If we lose, I'm blocking Jimmy for the record. I'm blocking all y'all, by the way.
For the record, we can definitely tell that you're on a burner phone.
Yeah.
You going in and out.
Yo. Oh, that's hilarious.
I'm trying to explain to my old lady why I didn't have a phone yesterday. But you know, I'll listen to this stuff, right? And like I saw LeBron's interview, they talking about Anthony, like, you know, his Rachel Nichols interview. Even if they gotten Paul George, he was bouncing anyway, and that's just right. And just be honest and say, hey, I did my time. Nothing they could have done. And you can understand Paul George saying, hey, I can't commit if LeBron won't commit another year. So do what's best for you, man.
No, that's the point, man. Like, that's what people don't understand. Everybody keep talking about, you know, why wouldn't you want to play with LeBron? But LeBron is holding your career hostage. Like, I mean, you did that to Kevin Love, man. Kevin Love, you made them trade away the young pick that you had. Kevin Love comes over there reluctantly. And then, you know, after they get it done, Kevin Love is like, okay, I can go sign elsewhere now. LeBron gets him. He signed a long-term deal. LeBron leaves him there with nobody. LeBron gave him that happening and was like, I'm out. I am not going to get stuck here because this dude's not coming back.
And Kevin Love.
But
like I was watching that game the other night. And, what kills me is like when everybody talking about, oh, big men are dead. You got to start just jacket threes all the time. But that's how the secret to that game last night with the Golden State and Lakers, that Golden State needs Boogie Cousins bad. Because your only big men you got are Kevon Looney, oh boy, and Draymond, who's like 6'6". And that Zubac guy was killing them down low because it wasn't just the scoring. It's the rebound.
Yo, Tobias, who is he? Because he was balling.
He's good.
I don't even think he know who he is.
He's good. And then Lonzo Ball, for example, he's that type of guy I've been saying forever. That's a guard Steph. A long guy who's a pest, who doesn't even care about scoring, who just follows Steph and make her work for it. Not saying that he can shut him down because you know he'll get his, but you got to make her work hard for it. And, but I still think this team needs Boogie Cousins badly, and their bench is not as good as it once was. Iguodala and Livingston are close to be on NBA TV.
Yeah, it's nowhere near as good. Like, they have no depth whatsoever. That was a thing they could once boast. Like, man, we got these dudes in the starting lineup, but even when they sit down, you know, you had waves of people coming off the bench. Now, like you said, you got an old Iguodala and an old Sean Livingston. It's just not working. It's just not working the same.
And Clay hasn't had a good season this year. Clay hasn't been good. Nobody wants to talk about that. And Draymond, they're not even guarding Draymond.
Draymond Big Welvin gets treated like Rondo, like Kobe treated Rondo. He would just sag feet off.
Tobias, what was your favorite sports moment of 2018?
Well, that's pretty
Roll
obvious.
Tide.
Well, I got two of them. First, it was Tua hitting that pass to beat Georgia. But also seeing Derrick Rose get that 50-point game, man. You know I'm a Bulls fan.
Loved it. Loved it.
And, I loved it because it's crazy how these Bulls fans are cheering Derrick Rose last night, chanting MVP. But these were the same fans that was crapping on him because he didn't come back fast enough, or he kept getting hurt, like he planned on getting hurt on purpose. Now they want to cheer him now. But that was one of my favorite moments besides the Alabama stuff because Derrick Rose, he just worked hard for it. And he was going to be that guy, one of those top 10 players. And those Bulls teams, if he didn't get hurt, were the ones that were supposed to challenge the LeBron team. Because that was the one team in the East that didn't kiss his ring like Paul George Pacers or DeMar DeRozan's Raptors, where Kyle Lowry had to take a bathroom break in the middle of a playoff game. You know. But, and that just shows that in sports you have to go for it and capitalize on your window because you never know what can happen. And imagine how the NBA would have been different if he didn't get hurt because that team was the one team that didn't bow down to him.
No doubt. So, what's your prediction for the Roll Tide Invitational this weekend?
Woo! All right, I think Nick Saban's going to run the ball more. And they got a stable of 4 running backs. 3 really playing. The 4th one just as good as any other, Brian Robinson. Keep his name on him in a year. But Oklahoma has one of the best offensive lines in college football. I think Alabama probably wins 50-24. And I think this is going to be a big test of Kyler Murray's stock because if he could light up this defense, he's going to score. He's going to get his because of the way the rules are, and he's a good player. But I think they won't be able to stop Alabama. Their defense is god-awful. I'm talking about in the hundreds. And Alabama has talent on all positions on offense. And the thing that people got to remember, that Georgia game, Nick Neal and them now, because no one's saying the greatest team ever. They had their bad game already where they were dropping balls, not making their reads. And also, Tua not winning that Heisman and Kyler Murray winning that Heisman. Just keep your eyes on that. Roll Tide. All I got to say is Roll Tide. I will be drunk by 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday.
Well, before we get you out of here, Skyview in the chat room, when you first came on, he said, I thought Tobias was about to announce a wedding or something. He said, this ninja talking about Roll Tide.
Hey, there ain't going to be no wedding for me. Hey, I ain't getting married to my old lady start squawking. You know how that is. Hey, I was surprised Joel Santana got married before me. But but I gotta say this real quick before I gotta run. If Baker Mayfield was black, no one would be giving him all these props right now talking about being fiery.
Amen.
Talking about being a competitor to who he is.
Amen.
Because Hugh Jackson's gone. He got fired. He's gone. You may have been mad at the media tour, but Hugh Jackson got to do anything to rehabilitate 3-34 record. He got to do anything. And he was right. It wasn't a shot against Baker. He wanted Carson Wentz that year. He didn't say anything bad about Baker, but I want Baker Mayfield to know this.
It didn't even come out the same year, man. Baker Mayfield's acting like a punk.
And this is my problem. Baker, they got a year of tape on you. Here is the year when you post it, because they got a year of tape. Let's see what happens next year. They got a year defending you now. So if you're talking when everything is good, when there's no expectations, now there's going to be playoff expectations on this team next year. Now, if you fall short of expectations, I want to see you feel dangerously then. And that's the thing about this league.
All right, man. Roll damn tide. We'll talk to you next week.
Hey, roll tide, fellas. And I'm going to tell the media this. Nick Foles is not the answer. Don't fall into the trap, everybody out there. You guys have a great day.
Yeah. Don't treat him like Fitzmagic. He ain't Fitzmagic.
No,
Nick Foles got us a ring. I ain't trying to hear no Nick Foles slander. He was the answer last year. All right, so in Skyview in the chat room, he was talking about when you were talking about the Patriots and the football cards. He said, "Man, Steve Grogan was the truth. You young cats just don't know." Steve Grogan was nobody's truth.
At all. In fact, he was a little white lie.
Steve Grogan was nobody's truth, man. Steve Grogan is a matter of fact. Let me get my statistical information to back up the fact that Steve Grogan was not the truth. Steve Grogan, he's a career 52% completion guy. His QB record was 75-60. He had 182 touchdowns to go against 208 interceptions. Steve Grogan ain't nobody's truth. Like he had 1 year, like his high, he had 18 touchdowns twice. He had 28 touchdowns in 1979, but he had 20 interceptions that same year. 1979 was his best year ever. Yo.
You know why? You know why he called him the truth?
Why?
Go ahead. Because he's
I was going to read off his yardage in every year in the league. 1975, he had 1976 yards. 76, he had 1,903 yards. 77, he had 2,162. 78, he had 28-24. In 79, when he threw 28 touchdown passes and led his team to a nice 9-7 record, he had 32-86. Then it goes downhill from there. 24-75, 18-59, 930, 24-11.
I was going to say the reason that someone might even have an inkling to say that was because he was quasi-mobile. Like he could run a little bit, but he was a failure as a passer, man. Don't get it twisted.
Steve Grogan was a failure as a He's no Tony Eason. And Tony Eason wasn't good. All right, let me stop messing with Steve Grogan. What else happened?
He was better than the Peter, man.
Definitely shout out to Kyler Murray, who won the Heisman Trophy over the likes of Tua. They're going to get it on this weekend. I wonder if it's going to come down to a situation where Tua is doing too much because he's trying to show people that he should have won the Heisman instead of Kyler Murray. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. In horse racing news, Justify wins the Triple Crown. I think the people of this generation are a little bit spoiled, B, because we have the Triple Crown watch every year. Justify wins it, 3 years after American Pharoah wins it? So we've seen 2 Triple Crown winners within the last 4 years. Before American Pharoah won it, the last time it was done was affirmed, and that was 37 years ago. So people have been waiting that long for a Triple Crown winner, and then, you get one, and then 3 years later, you get another one. So people of this generation.
Test them horses. They had the cream.
The cream and the clizzy. Probably the biggest news in sports in 2018 is that the U.S. Supreme Court legalizes sports gambling. We capitalized right away and got us a gambling sponsor when this was done.
Immediately.
We capitalized right away. But that's big, man, because sports gambling is such a huge industry. You can do what the hell you want in Vegas, but now you can do this anywhere and it's legal. That's big. That's just big. I'm pretty sure sports gambling is probably like another career for a lot of people out there. And now they can do it and everything could be legit. Everything could be on the up and up. But y'all better report your winnings because Uncle Sam will do the thing to you. We know how that works. Yeah.
Billy.
All right.
It's a Billy Philly.
In Creep news, Larry Nassar was sentenced to 40 to 125 years in prison for sexually assaulting generations of gymnasts. Being a doctor with the U.S. gymnastics team, man, the details that came out about this case, man, it was crazy, and just the number of people, especially young girls, that he sexually abused. I'm really thinking that it's crazy that we haven't heard by now that this dude was killed in prison, because those are the type of crimes that people don't take too kindly to when you're in there, especially when you look like dude. Like you look like you can't defend yourself. You're just a little scrawny white dude, and you are out here taking advantage of the kids. You just think he wouldn't last too long.
To translate that to some of our more hardened listeners, my man Dev is saying that Larry Nassar is going to get his cheeks bust up in the clink. And we are definitely full-on endorsers of him being in the same Bible study group as Fleece Johnson, the warrior. That's all I got to say.
Crazy part, like a total of 141 of his victims. That's the thing, like 141 of them. It was more than 141, but 141 of his victims, including several members of the U.S. Women's Olympics team, were honored with the Arthur Ashe Courage Award at the 2018 ESPYs because of this monster.
Yo, he touched more than 141 gymnasts, and somebody that is too cowardly to handle that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and he's still alive? Like, come on, man.
Yo.
At some point, one of these little girls had to go tell their dad. Like, it's one of those situations, though, where somebody takes advantage of your dream. Just like the whole Harvey Weinstein situation, where you wonder why, in some occasions, some instances women went along with stuff. In some instances, they just didn't say anything. It's because people are afraid that this person has power over their dreams. So that's how we get down this type of path. Down that road.
That's 1,000,000% real. And the bull Harvey Weinstein was such a creep that he would just come in, you'd be sitting down, he'd unzip and lay it on your shoulder and tell you to kiss the head. Like, he was completely out of control.
Yeah, his day in court is coming, though. It's coming. We'll see. All right, so real quick, you guys, you know the drill. You can check out our website at warroomsports.com. If you want to call in and tell us about any of your favorite moments, sports moments of 2018, Dollar Digital Extreme Tech Hotline. That number is 323-410-0012. Press 1 when prompted. If you're already listening from your phone, just press 1 if you want to talk. So real quick, we're going to take a time out on our year in review just to give some birthday shout outs. Can't forget to do that. And birthdays this week are actually brought to you by Sports the Book. You guys tired of reading the same old sports book with the same old lists, rankings, imaginary starting lineups, and all sorts of subjective information being passed along as facts? Well, be sure to pick up your copy of Sports. Smart people only read the sports. Its mixture of sports and hip-hop culture will keep you on the edge of your seat and laughing like you're watching a comedy special. Just go to sportsthebook.com or get your copy from our website at warroomsports.com. Whatever you do, just make sure you don't miss the movement.
Birthday! Yay!
All right, birthday shout-outs. Cole Hamels, 2008 World Series MVP for the Philadelphia Phillies. He turns 35 today. Shout out to Cole Hamels, Philly legend. Carson Palmer turns 39 today. Carson Palmer, when he came into the league, he had so much promise, and it kind of seemed to go all downhill when he got that knee injury. When the Bengals looked like they were about to do the thing to the Steelers, he got that knee injury, and he was never the same. He always, like, even coming back, like, he was always a solid veteran quarterback that you trust. But he was on his way to being trust. Carson Palmer was that dude for a minute.
Even after the injury, at certain points in time, Carson would creep into the top 10 in the NFL, just strictly off of arm talent,
right?
And savvy. But what he would have been had that injury not happened. Listen, man, he might have been sitting in heaven with the pearly gates around and the white robes next to Dan Marino. Like, he had that type of ability with the ball. Like, he could throw the ball on a line 40 yards in between three people.
Yeah, he's a talented cat. Shout out to Coach Bill Self, who turns 56 today. Ironically, another college basketball coach, Mark Few, his birthday is on the exact same day. Not just his birthday, but his birth date. They both turned 56 years old. And another shout out to Andre Tippett, former Buffalo Bills linebacker. He turns 59 today. So we'd like to give a nice big War Room salute to all of these folks on their birthdays. Shout out, happy birthday, yay! And we wish you many, many more. One more time before we get to our final stretch of 2018. You guys can check out the website, warroomsports.com, if you want to call in right now and speak about any of your favorite topics, moments, stories from sports year 2018. Dial the Digital Extreme Tech Hotline 323-410-0012. Press 1 when prompted. If you're already listening from your phone, you know what to do by now. Press 1 if you want to holler at the fellas. All right, so we're going to get back into to the year in review. And Skyview said, when Carson Palmer joined the Raiders, I was pumped. Like, yeah, like, he was the type of quarterback that could make you feel that way, but you just never knew what you were going to get, post-injury. Now we're living in times, he might have just been on that cusp of, torn ACL being almost a career death sentence. So now you can come back better. You know what I'm saying? Like, even Carson Wentz and all the flack that he's taken this year, statistically, he's a better quarterback this year.
No, but listen, Carson Wentz
leading the Eagles to the type of wins and the type of season they were having last year, so nobody notices that.
Carson Wentz's slide in play from the eye test is 107% mental. His physical is all there. Like, he's not physically hampered, and he's only going to get better. So the question is, mentally, can he get over that hurdle? Because physically, ACL just doesn't mean what it meant, 20 years ago, or even 10 years ago for that matter.
Yeah, and shout out to his safety, his security blanket, his binky, Zach Ertz, for breaking the all-time single-season tight end receptions record, once held by his idol, Jason Witten, who had it at 110. With 10 more catches from last week. I'm not exactly sure because I don't have it up in front of me, but I think Ertz is somewhere around like 116 or something crazy like that right now. So with another big game in the final game of the season, he could smash that record, put that record out of reach for a long while. All right, so more year review topics brought to you by Digital Extreme Technologies. Do you or your business need a custom website? Well, for dynamic, professional, and most of all, affordable custom websites, you need Digital Extreme Technologies. No need to break the bank for an effective online presence. Top quality, results-driven websites at incredibly affordable prices. And yes, financing options are available. So visit digitalextremetech.com or call 267-205-4203. And for discounted rates, be sure to tell them that War Room Sports sent you. More year in review, your man, James Harden, the Beard. He finally got his MVP. He's been a candidate probably for the past 3 seasons or so. Finally got his MVP award. Did you think that, him winning the 2017-2018 MVP was well-deserved?
Yeah. I thought he could have won it the year before. Here's the thing, and I know we don't want to go too deep on a tangent. Like, I really think that James Harden's game is amazing. He's, his particularly his offense. I mean, listen, his game from a skill standpoint, purely skill, and he's I think more athletic than people give him credit for. Translates across eras, I believe. I mean, he could have played in a lot of different eras because he's not bound strictly by athleticism. But he's also an asshole. And I'm going to tell you exactly how and why. James Harden is well aware of the fact that he travels at least twice in every game.
And flop.
And he works diligently. He works diligently to see what he can get away with, almost to the point where he's on the sideline talking to a fan and someone else travels and gets away with it and like, look, he got away with it. And Harden is like, watch this, hold my beer. And,
I 100%, I do not say this jokingly, I think James Harden spends time in the film room watching tendencies of referees to see what he can get away with and what he can't get away with. Most of his moves, you have to give him props. Like, it's a part of the softening of the game, but you have to give props to somebody who puts this kind of time into their craft, that you know exactly what you have to do to get the ticky-tackiest, bull-crappiness defensive fouls called on every offensive possession. This dude goes to the line. It's like the Saints marching in. He has the most made free throws in the league so far this year, and it's no surprise. Like, when he has games and he goes to the line 15 to 20 times, like, you're not surprised, because every little nuance in his offensive game is made so that he could possibly force you to give the smallest of touches or the illusion that you touched him while still being able to shoot his shot in a solid manner, and able to get it up and possibly get and ones out of it. Like, he has to study these, man. You got to give him props for that. But
he's studying officials, and he has taken. I'll bring a name from our childhood, because we know John Stockton was similar, but James Harden has taken it to 2 levels above that, where I've seen him foul other people on offense. Like, dude is,
there was a play where Michael Carter Williams was trying to, like, box him out. James Harden literally just purposely goes off his feet lays on this dude's back. They collapse to the floor, and they call a foul on Michael Carter Williams. He got up livid. He was livid. But this is the type of stuff, like, the way he reacts makes the ref think that everything is happening to him, and none of it is his fault.
And have you ever seen his facial expressions? He has that look on his face like, who, me? Huh? What I do?
The refs are so, especially in this, and you know, I say that, but I also say that I have to respect what they do, because if anybody, if you've ever tried to referee a game in any sport, especially basketball,
it's hard.
On any level, it's very difficult to do. So at the same time, I'm trashing them. I got to give them a little bit of respect, but they're so stupid in a day and age where the league is trying to force all of this transparency from the refs. So it's like every other game in NFL or NBA, like a ref, the league has to come out and apologize for a ref getting something wrong. Like, these apologies don't mean anything. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not going to get that win back and the win column that the egregious plays probably took from a team. And to top that off, it's like, I don't know, man. It's it's just weird to watch. Like, every game where these dudes are making these big mistakes, and then they gotta come back and apologize to you. Like,
not that it's any consolation, but I will say at least this: when playoff time comes around, and James Harden is dependent upon those aspects of his game to get an edge, it usually doesn't work, because the officiating does change. Some people would argue it shouldn't. It should be consistent across the board. But we know there are certain conditions where officiating changes. Last 2 minutes of a game and the entirety of a playoff contest. They're not calling a lot of that ticky-tack stuff, so he has to work a little bit harder. But during the regular season, in a D'Antoni offense, oh, my God. Sheesh.
Yeah. And another thing is, like, they apologize for certain things, especially like when they get caught when somebody's flopping, but they don't do anything about it. Like, what happened to all of these hard rules they were supposed to come down on flopping and all that kind of stuff? Nobody's being deterred because the refs keep falling for it. It's not like, all right, the ref falls for it and then you watch afterwards and then you're going to fine somebody $5,000. Like, no, do something about it during the game. Like, that's not going to help anything. And they're falling for it worse than ever these days. All right, but shout out to James Harden anyway, because he definitely deserved his MVP. And like we spoke about with Tobias a few minutes ago, earlier this year, Alabama won its 17th national title. And in that title game is when Tua exploded onto the scene, coming in for Jalen Hurts, throwing some crazy passes. He was on fire that night, threw that long touchdown pass to beat Georgia in the national championship, because Georgia was not laying down easily. And it's kind of been short-term history ever since. Like, we thought Tua was well on his way to winning the Heisman, but I kind of think the success of Alabama played against him in that, seeing as though he didn't play in a lot of fourth quarters, some second halves of the season, because they were him in the third quarter, so he didn't get those stats up like Kyler Murray. What did you say, B?
I said they were sitting him halfway through the third quarter in a lot of those games. Meanwhile, Kyler Murray had to play into overtime and use every bit of his Kobe 81 to get victories.
No doubt. Baker Mayfield goes number 1 in the NFL draft, which was a surprise to a lot of people. But then, you know, once you sit back and think about it, you're like, it's just Cleveland being Cleveland. So far, it seems like that it's pretty much paid off so far. But like somebody said earlier, you know, that second season is when you're going to really get a chance to show and prove, because the film's going to be out. And we're going to see what you're really about when teams are a little bit more comfortable facing you. Baker Mayfield has really been sticking it to Hugh Jackson. They've beaten the Bengals twice since Hugh Jackson was fired. I really don't know why this dude is so mad at the coach, but he gave him a stare down after throwing a touchdown this week. Ran past him, stared at him. As he went past him, he turned his body to face him all the way until his run became a backpedal because he didn't want to take his eyes off of Hugh Jackson. At some point, Hugh Jackson is just going to say, F it, and just punch this boy in his mouth. But it's interesting.
Similar perspective, but I actually think it's going to go worse. Like, I like Baker Mayfield's talent, and I actually believe that Cleveland may have one. Like, they may have one in Baker because he's one of these dudes.
He's not going to quit on you.
He's a gamer. He's got a little bit of that Larry Bird. I hate to say Michael. He's got that. He's heady. He's a heady player. He's got all of that. But in the NFL, there are men similar to his head coach, current head coach, as in Greg Williams, who we all know the pedigree that Greg Williams' mentality comes out of the 50s. Now, they probably rehabilitated some of that out of him. And what I mean by that is Baker's going to have this hubris, that's all I can call it, this hubris on the field and the attitude. And there's going to be a defensive player like an Ndamukong Suh where the coach is going to say, listen, I don't mind the pitch. All he's going to say is he's not going to give him instructions. He's just going to say, I don't mind the 15 yards if you get home, if you get there. And then Ndamukong's going to say, oh, coach, that's all I needed to hear. I was planning on it anyway. And they're going to teach Baker a bit of a lesson because of the way that he handles himself in the media, this thing with you. Like, he's going to start, and then he's going to bitch and complain about being targeted. But I can see it playing out that way because grown men aren't going to take him disrespecting them lightly. Like, we're NFL athletes as well. We're NFL coaches as well. Like, let's keep it between the lines and let's keep it, let's keep it G. Let's keep it professional instead of this college stuff. Like, the level of competition is good, but I think he takes it over the line almost to the point of college kids where, I hate the enemy type of thing. And that's not what professional sports is actually like or about. And it's going to – I can see it costing
the enemy
him. The other team, he also has – he's cut from a little bit of the Brett Favre tree. I think he's one of Brett's grandsons in that he has supreme belief in his ability to throw the ball. And as long as you surround players like that with the talent and the other players that are going to make those type of plays, it doesn't backfire on you. But just like Patrick Mahomes, if take two of those playmakers away and you're still playing with the same reckless abandon, pushing the ball down the field in the tight windows, let's watch the picks mount up and then see what they say about Baker. Let's see. So,
no doubt. This is up your alley. France comes away with a World Cup win. I've gotten over the years, especially talking to you about it and our sons being excited about football, aka soccer. I was looking forward to the World Cup, and it definitely didn't disappoint. France comes away with the cup. You got any final thoughts for 2018 on the World Cup and what we saw?
Salute to really the Final Four. Salute to France. Salute to Belgium. Salute to Croatia. Salute to the host, even Russia. France, in the global media, it's kind of funny because as Americans, we don't encounter how truly racist FIFA football is. But there was some jokes, or it was said sort of tongue-in-cheek by some of the players even, that France was the only African team in the tournament. And, of course, people took offense to that, and there was all types of blowback and backlash that came, I believe, from an ethnocentric place. But I always have to say, isn't it amazing the benefits that colonial powers reap from the terror that they reigned not more than 2 centuries ago in other places in the world? You get the benefit of the best and the brightest athletes to come and play for you because they'll turn down the countries of their parentage or lineage to play for, England, to play for France, to play for Belgium, to play. And you see these players on the pitch, and invariably European teams always have at least 2 or 3 star, you got to call them what it is, star African players, and yet they have such issues in FIFA with racism, anywhere from Nazi chants to banana peels being thrown on the pitch to all of that. So that came to the forefront of this World Cup, and particularly France winning, because I think 7 of the starting 11 players were of African descent. So it might have been 8. So that was an interesting storyline in the World Cup and the racism that reared its head during the tournament. But they played a masterful game. They have tremendous, tremendous potential, not only in the starting 11, but the younger guys coming. They go probably 16, 17 deep, and it wouldn't surprise me to see them back at the next World Cup with an almost intact squad, because none of those players are over 27 years old. So they're going to be a powerhouse for some years to come.
No doubt. One of the big stories of the year that kind of spilled off of the playing field, off of the court, if you will, Serena Williams and her quote-unquote blow-up at the U.S. Open. This was like a few months after her return to the court following the birth of her first child. She actually found herself in the final against 20-year-old Naomi Osaka. Of course, she was one of Osaka's idols. So, it was interesting to see this girl compete against one of her idols. Anyway, the chair ump basically deducted a point from Serena Williams for committing 3 code violations, including receiving coaching from the stands and verbal abuse, because after he warned her, and I guess after he took the point, she called him a thief, she called him a liar, she kind of did her John McEnroe thing and berated the dude a little bit. After the match, it was nothing different. She went on and accused him of sexism. The crazy part about this whole thing, it kind of overshadowed the gravity of the situation of Naomi Osaka, who just took down her idol in a final for her first major at the ripe old age of 20. But all anybody can talk about, we're talking about right now, is the fact that, Serena and the chair ump got into it. So first of all, shout out to Naomi Osaka for handling her business in that match, because the match wasn't close. So, Serena can blow up and use that use it loosely as an excuse for why she lost, but the match wasn't close in the first place.
I feel on a certain level, Serena has lost touch with Earth. She's lost her grounding, because some of the things that she claims to stand for, she slighted Naomi Osaka, another black woman, a Haitian Japanese descent. She kind of slighted her because of the tirade and the performance, and you could argue that she was being a poor sport in so doing, because it's not as if these decisions that were made were putting the game in question. You were already losing. Naomi Osaka was whooping your ass, and you decided that your big bad Serena Williams, gift of the earth, champion of, whatever, oppressed soccer or tennis star, so let me throw this temper tantrum and whatever. But it wasn't, it felt to me as if it was in bad taste because it didn't respect the game, and it definitely didn't respect your opponent, and it didn't respect another black woman who achieved a victory fair and square, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was a crazy situation. I mean, afterwards, when they were getting interviewed, she tried to, quell the media questioning her about that situation and tried to get them to focus on what's important and the young woman getting her first major victory. But at the same time, it's like the damage was done, Serena. Like, had you not reacted the way you did and gone off the way you did, then she would have had her moment fair and square. But
she's been corny.
In sports in 2018, many people want to look at it. You get one loss like that, people want to look at it as the passing of the torch moment. I don't know if Serena's ready to pass that torch quite yet, but we'll see. We'll see how it plays out in 2019 and beyond. Something that made a lot of people upset in 2018 was Colin Kaepernick's Nike ad, where the still ad where he's, basically talking about you gotta, what was the quote? Sacrifice everything. I'll pull it up. But either way, the Nike ad, the still ads, the actual video ad, it had a whole lot of people upset because there's a lot of people who look at it in a way where they think that Colin Kaepernick didn't sacrifice anything. And I don't really understand how they look at that. Of course, there's people out there putting more on the line for causes that they want to be active about. Of course, Colin Kaepernick plays a child's game, but when you're playing a child's game and you're getting paid millions to do it, and you do something that will probably, and seems like it has, gotten him banned from that game for the rest of his life, then you are pretty much, you're putting something on the line. And there's a lot of people out there who don't understand that simply because of the fact that they don't want to understand that. People take sides, and then once you take a side, there's nothing from the other side. There's no perspective that people can hear that will make them, walk a mile in another pair of shoes and understand in the least bit what somebody's going through, what somebody's thinking, what somebody's fighting for. So this ad, they were, as we say, they were mad. They were real mad.
First of all, I would say, salute to the great and honorable Colin Kaepernick for his decision to sacrifice his NFL football career to stand for human rights, justice, and righteousness for black people, brown people, and other folks that are mistreated on a global level. Salute to him. Because just what you said, I hate the narrative that's perpetuated that you have to be a starving artist or you have to be broke to be an activist or stand for something, particularly if you're black. There's white folks that their activism doesn't get questioned and they come from wealth, but this man made his fortune playing ball and decided to sacrifice that to stand against injustice and intolerance, particularly black men and women being murdered and killed by the police and the government in the United States. He's fighting institutional white supremacy and racism, period. That's what the focus is. And the machine and the people, the powers that be, hijacked that narrative to say that in some way, shape, fashion, or form, he was disrespecting the American flag or disrespecting the institution of law
Yeah.
enforcement or disrespecting the country, when in truth, if you look historically, isn't, the United States of America about, protest and civil disobedience and, be rebelling against injustice? Isn't that what it's about? So what I really hated was how the mass, a certain part of the masses, decided to ignore his quest and ignore what he was standing for and dictate the narrative as to what he was doing and what he was about. Like, that was like so disgusting. It was insane. As for Nike, salute to them in a sense, because they took a stand with him. But also remember, Nike spends millions and millions and millions of money analyzing market trends and what they knew the response and what it would be before it happened. And globally, Nike being a global company, they know that the world's view of Donald Trump ties into this, and they play this as Trump versus Kaepernick, and the rest of the world thinks Trump is an idiot. So regardless of whether they stood for what Colin Kaepernick stands for, they know he's opposed to Trump. So Nike wins based on that in the long run, as history actually is formed.
This was a long-term marketing move for Nike, because at the end of the day, they're going to be around a long time from now. And when this situation is spoken about, they're going to be on the right side of history. So it's only going to be good for their brand in the long run. I mean, a couple of Wahoos burned their Nikes the day after it happened, Nikes that they had already paid for. So the company's not losing anything when you're burning merchandise that you already gave the company money for. It was much ado about nothing for these people. They just wanted to put on a show. They put on their little show. These people are probably still wearing Nike paraphernalia to this day. But the slogan was believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything, just do it. So shout out to Cat. Shout out to Nike. Like I said, we can analyze it and break it down a little more to know that Nike just isn't this, hero brand. But, they still did it. What's done is done. So salute to them for, even having the balls. We spoke about this a few weeks ago. Kareem Hunt, his video leaked of him basically in a fight with a woman that he had just met that night. The Kansas City Chiefs are having a great season, and this might derail them for the long haul, which we've still yet to see, because it's still the regular season, so we've still yet to see the long-term effects that this thing might have on the situation. But it's the same old in the NFL. The NFL knew about this. The Chiefs knew about this. But once the video is leaked, then everybody wants to become the moral police. Everybody wants to do the quote-unquote right thing to look like they care. When the fact is 49% of the NFL's fan base are female. And it seems these days that you can beat up on a woman, but you cannot kneel during the playing of the national anthem, because that's inexcusable. It's indefensible, and it's just unforgivable. So just another day in the NFL to me, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, we can go back to the Ray Rice thing. When we found out later, they knew about the Ray Rice thing. They knew exactly what happened. Video surfaced. They want to act like they're the moral police. Same old thing. Same old.
Yeah. The amount of men defending Kareem Hunt is a little scary. Like, they're like, yo, and Ray Rice for that matter.
People defending Kareem Hunt. Hey, dude, people still defending Bill Cosby. So we can't be surprised.
Yeah,
you got people out there still defending William H. Cosby. So I don't know, man. Human beings.
Cliff Huxtable didn't do that.
No. All right, and the JBA made its debut, and the Ball family and all the drama that they've been through this year, starting from Jell-O, stealing stuff in China while he was over there with UCLA, to the whole saga of the father taking him out of college, taking the other son out of high school, now, putting them back in high school after he's taken them all around the world to play professionally. It's just one big crazy S show with the Ball family. And I'm not a detractor. You know what I'm saying? I support LeVar Ball where I can, but idiotic circumstances, I have to call a spade in those particular circumstances. I'm one of those people, I don't have to disagree with everything you're saying. I don't have to agree with everything you're saying. There's certain things, that I can get behind that he does, and then there's certain other things that I'm like, yo, dude is off the hook, and he's an idiot. But the crazy part is, in a 2018 recap, you can't go without mentioning them. So in today's day and age, B, where any attention seems to be good publicity, good attention, like the fact that people speak his name, do you think that's all he wanted in the long run? Just to be a part of the conversation?
Yeah, I think that he feels as though, he's figured out how to monetize that. So for him, if he moves the needle enough, good or bad, he's able to monetize that for the attention that it brings. That's just, to me, that's a fact. Opinion of him, you already know. I think that he is quite possibly in 2018 the definition of a coon. Like, I think that he's on the coon train. So I can't. From bad business practices to the way he treats his family to his exploiting his sons to the idiocy that he speaks in the media to the condoning of negative behavior to the, I'll take my ball and you guys won't play. It's just a litany of coon train is coming. Coon train is coming.
What about black on black crime?
Like I said, I can totally understand why somebody would have that perspective about LeVar Ball and his antics. Like I said, there's some things that I could defend, that I could, say positive things about. But, that's his thing. Like, he wants to be loud. He wants to be, and that's the part that I can't get with. He wants to just say crazy things because he knows it's going to get you clicks. It's going to get you views. It's going to get you listens. But what you said is the greatest thing. Like, if money is what's important to people in the world, and we know that, a vast majority of the population, money is the end-all, be-all. The fact that, like you admitted, that he found a way to monetize his craziness, then I guess in the money crowd, he's winning. Like, my mentality has changed over the years. You talk to me when I'm 18, 19 years old, and everything was about the pursuit of money. Everything was about the pursuit of money. And throughout the years, I've learned that, happiness doesn't just come in that relentless pursuit of money. There's a whole lot of other things in the world that gauge success other than, how much money you have, how much money you've made, how much money you have access to, how much money you have the potential of making. But, like I said, the vast majority, it's not that way. So that's why you get a lot of people that defend everything he's doing. Like, look, he getting money. That's the end-all, be-all to everybody's argument with everything these days. And I can't really get with that. I think I've matured past that point. Le'Veon Bell, taking this back to the NFL, he took it all the way, forfeited his season, never signed his franchise tender. There was some back and forth, some yo-yoing, some points where you thought, okay, he's going to come in at this particular point. And then the deadline came. We were sure he was coming in at that particular point. He even left where he was and went back to Pittsburgh. Something must have happened in between those days where he decided, no, I am not going to sign this franchise tender. At the end of the day, do you think Le'Veon Bell made the right decision? I'll tell you. Go ahead. I'll tell you, even after I just made my spiel about money not being the end-all, be-all, in this particular instance, the way football players, especially running backs, are used and discarded, I think you need to grab as much money as you can possibly make, because we all know that the lifespan of an NFL player, let alone an NFL running back, is a very short lifespan, even if you're one of the good ones. You know what I'm saying? So
lost $804,000 per game.
Forget the per game. He lost 14. He lost a $14+ million season. So like once he forfeits the whole season, we don't even have to break it down per game anymore. He lost the whole franchise tender that he was offered, and he could have played less than half the season and still made a lot of that money. So that's what I really didn't understand, because if I were him, I would have tried to beat the system in a more snake-like, rat-like way, where I would have come back prior to the deadline. I would have accepted and signed my franchise tender, and then my ass would have faked the injury and wouldn't have played and got my money. I wouldn't have sat out the whole time, never came back, never signed the tender, and never got any of my money. I would have played it a whole different way, but that's just me. So I kind of think in the long run, he loses that. I mean, he saves a year as far as being fresh, if that cliche even means anything to anybody. But I still think you shaved a year off of your prime, because no matter how much football you didn't get to play, you're still a human being, and you're still aging, you're still getting older. So just because you didn't run a lot,
still got 6 years. And he gave up 1, so you could have said 7 and max 6, probably more like 4 or 5. So the deal that he signs, he's hoping to match or exceed Todd Gurley. I don't believe that will happen. I think the best he can hope for is a guarantee that goes beyond 50% of his salary.
I mean, we shall see. I mean, there's going to be suitors. It might not be a line around the block, but you have teams that you're already, the Jets are already major players in the Le'Veon Bell sweepstakes for next year. Skyview in the chat room, going back to the Ball family conversation, he said, I think LaMelo is going to wind up playing at Memphis with Penny. I still don't understand how LaMelo is going to wind up playing anywhere in college after being a part of 2 professional basketball leagues. Like, you could talk all of that. He didn't accept the paycheck crap all you want. He played in professional basketball teams. So I still don't understand how that's even possible, but it seems like everything I read on the situation, they're not making too big of a deal with that. Like, they know that something's going to happen where he's going to be able to be eligible. He also said James Conner made Bell expendable. A mixture of Pittsburgh offense and Pittsburgh offensive line and what James Conner was able to do behind it made Bell expendable in the fact that they still got the production from the running back position. But impact-wise, you see where the Steelers are right now, going into Week 17 with the chance to miss the playoffs.
Conner had 3
Bell that, no matter what his production level is, the attention that he's able to receive helps the offense tremendously. And I don't think they're looking, at a possibility of missing the playoffs if Le'Veon Bell is there. So I don't think he's actually
had 3 distinct plays, and all of them were negative, and all of them were drops. 3 drops on passes out of the backfield that I know Le'Veon Bell makes those catches, and one or two of them cost them the game. I like James Conner. I like his story. I do believe he is a starter quality NFL running back. He's not Le'Veon Bell.
No.
Not by long.
No. All right, man. Well, I can't think of anything else that happened in 2018. I'm pretty sure it's a lot, man. We cover a lot on this particular show, but of course we don't have enough time to get to everything. But man, it's been real to serve you good folks for another calendar year, because the War Room year doesn't end until early September. That's when we move into our next year of existence. But man, we've been doing this since September 2010. We're working on a new year, 2019. 2019 hopefully will bring a whole lot of new things for the War Room and War Room Sports. We still have things that and we've been negotiating and working on for multiple years. Like, you get into this, B, and you don't understand. I mean, because you see the lightning, the microwave society that we live in. You see how a lot of other things we think happen overnight, but then when you actually get behind the scenes on this, or you have to go through some of this stuff yourself, you realize that everything is a process. You know what I'm saying? Because if something big did pop, people will think, oh, these dudes just came up overnight. I didn't even know who they were. A lot of those people wouldn't know that we've been grinding for 9 years, almost 9 years. Just like the story that we see out there, we don't know how long they've been grinding. Like, take comedy, for example. People think Tiffany Haddish, somebody like that, they think she just popped up overnight and she's just the it girl. Man, Tiffany Haddish been grinding for so long. But people are not worried about the process. They're just worried about the end results. But look, man, it's a ball and it's a pleasure for us to do this for you guys every week. So I want to thank you, brothers and sisters, for joining us for another calendar year in the War Room. Shout out to everybody who chopped it up with us via the chat room. Skyview, you've held the chat room down for years. Neil, you've been holding it down with him for the past 6 months. Ask Skyview, Neil, like 6-7 years ago, the chat room used to be popping. Nobody want to talk to us during the show no more. I don't know what's up with that. But we've come to that time where people, that's why podcasts are so popular now. There's not a lot of people who listen live to podcasts anymore. So we have our core audience, our core supporters that listen to us live every week. But most of our numbers come afterwards because this is an on-demand society these days. But we love y'all no matter where you do it, live, on demand,
or how you do
after the show, man. As long as you give us a listen and you give us your support, you check out our website, check out our social media pages, man. We appreciate everything that everybody out there does. So again, shout out to everybody who chopped it up with us via the chat room, Facebook, Twitter, the War Room Sports Game Time group on the GroupMe app. Everything you did with us in 2018, as well as all the callers who called in to holler at us this year. Special thanks to Gus Griffin and Fred Perdue for contributing to the show all year, again, and as well as special guests and special guest hosts who joined us in 2018. We did help. So tune in next week, live right here or on demand as we kick off 2019 in the War Room. We'll catch you up on everything happening around the world of sports to kick off the new year. So until then, enjoy the rest of your holiday week, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, and we'll see you guys right back here next time. Be sure to catch our conversations on Facebook, as well as our blogs, webcasts, and network podcasts on warroomsports.com. Also, make sure you pick up a copy of Jimmy's book, whatthebook.com or warroomsports.com. Until next time, everybody, don't accept mediocrity and be steadfast in the war against ignorance. We'll see you chumps in 2019.
Jimmy, know the blueprint. Every Thursday, 6 to 8, they do this. Shout out to Dev, PJ, B. Austin, Bay on replay. WarRoomSports.com. Get that mobile app. It's knocked out. 323-140012. They be going and you sensitive, then oh well. Physical podcast, let's talk sports. Showtime like magic in the box push. Listen live, push one to join should be in sports credits, I ain't talking college. 5 guys, no beef though. Sport threat, secret, but the streets know. Belafonte, I got a G flow. KC, royalty, I'm in beast mode. 2 hours, get your game up. Who's the best in sportscast? You better name us. War Room Sports. Yeah, you know, Jimmy, Dev, TJ, Shot Back, Lee Austin. I'm shot. Up and coming on the beat.
War Room Sports, www.warroomsports.com. What? Ain't no more to it.